It's 19 past the hour, 8:19. News Talk 550, KCRS. Robert Hallmark, Kurt Verli in the second chair. And just as you would ask moments ago, if we're going to have Art Leal on the radio, that's amazing. Wow, are
remarkable.
We're good.
Clairvoyant.
Man, we're good. We're good. Art Leal has already found his way to the studios this morning. You heard your name and just came rushing right over.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's
Is that it?
Yeah.
No, it's not it at all. We actually had originally designed an opportunity to talk to Mr. Leal about the civic education opportunity that's coming up. I guess it's next week, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. That'll be in City Council chambers.
Okay.
And we have a great lineup. The same, basically, it's the same lineup from last year. We have our city manager, our assistant city managers to talk about budget, talk about community development. We have Marwayne Curry with planning and zoning to explain to our citizens how growth in Odessa occurs and why it does occur the way it does. We have the city secretary, the city attorney, Larry Long, will also be there on day 2. And then day 3 is the best day, is where we have our city council members and the mayor. We have 4 city council members and the mayor that will be there. So we have Billy Cleaver, we have Dean Combs, Barbara Graff, and let's see, who else was it? We only had one.
You want the list?
Yeah, we only had one that had a scheduling conflict that couldn't be there.
Okay.
But we're really excited about it. Last year it was really successful. We had about 15 participants who participated, and we're really trying to make this a community thing and make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to meet their city leaders and understand how the city government works and how they can get involved.
Yeah, and I think it is common for people to not understand, why does the city do the things they do? You know,
That's
why
right.
did they allow this to be built there or that to be built here?
Well, now, this is not about a specific issue.
No,
Is it?
It's very specific. It's very specific that no hot topics are to be discussed. This is a learning environment.
Yes.
It's an opportunity for citizens to ask questions.
Okay.
If they were curious about.
So nobody's getting reelected on this meeting?
No one's getting reelected on this meeting.
Okay.
This is for the community, strictly educational, an opportunity for the citizens to come in and meet their leaders, ask questions. If they didn't understand, or if they're just intimidated by city council chambers, to come out into the environment and see how they can participate.
Can they ask questions about future development, like will there ever be a road that goes behind Walmart and takes some of the traffic off 42nd Street?
That would be a great question, and I'm sure Marwayne Curry could, because last year Marwayne Curry, he had a great presentation. He brought in the entire map that showed all the extraterritorial jurisdictions and really showed how and why the city grows a certain direction. But that would be a great question.
Yeah,
for sure.
So who comes to this? What kind of people are showing up for this event?
Last year we had a diverse group. We had some from the local political parties. We had some from just in the community, people who just care. We had some seniors last year as well.
Yeah.
Just people who want to really get to know their government, their city government.
Are these future leaders? I mean, are these people who may at one time decide, hey, I want to run for this position or something like that? I mean, we're getting out there.
Last year we had one participant who had actually run for city council this past election, but I don't think it's necessarily to develop candidates. It's really for the citizens to understand how things work and give them an opportunity to in a learning environment to ask questions that they normally may not know.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just shoot off the hip and say, well, you know, if I was in charge of that, this wouldn't happen. Well, there's some machinery in there you don't know the intricacies of.
That's
so you
right.
really don't know how it works until you have an opportunity to get the education.
And it's so important, because one of the biggest things you always hear, well, why is Odessa only growing this direction? Why doesn't it grow this direction?
Well, it's growing to the northeast,
exactly.
for sure.
And once you hear Marwayne's presentation, you begin to, and you see the big map, and you see areas where Odessa can't go, where we're kind of locked in.
Yeah.
You see why we're growing in that direction.
Yeah.
And so something like that's really important to those who think that, well, Odessa, city leaders only care about northeast, and that's why we're growing that direction. But you can see, economic, as far as development concerned, that's really the only direction that Odessa can go.
Yeah.
Art Leal's our guest this morning. Tell me, who is the Odessa Civic Organization? Who are you people?
The Odessa Civic Engagement Project was a project that came out of Una Voz Unida, which is our civic organization, 501c4. And the Civic Engagement Project originally came about to educate the community, to get more citizen participation, and increase the knowledge of the voting population. If you, just to give you a few numbers, just in Odessa alone, 70,000 registered voters, and in 2008, only 4,000 voted. You know, which is really, it's terrible. And in the 2008 presidential elections, we had that same amount of registered voters, only a little bit over 30,000 voted for the presidential elections in 2008.
Not even 50%.
Not even 50%. And if you just go back even more recently to this year's elections, it wasn't you know, we had just a couple council races, but right around 2,000 voters. So there's something is going on why citizens either don't care about elections or city government, county government, or they don't understand. So if it's one of those things, then the project, the Odessa Civic Project, wants to try to help people understand how it works, to make them want to be involved and become part of the process.
As you know, you were kind of picked out a while ago in a poll that we had on the phone.
I heard that,
as an Hispanic leader of the Odessa. Is this an Hispanic organization?
This is not. Una Voz Unida is not a Hispanic organization. A lot of people.
Hang on, that was Spanish.
That was Spanish. Now it does stand for it stands for United. It stands for United Voice. And when it came about, of course, we have an emerging Hispanic market in Odessa, and we have had an emerging Hispanic market for quite some time.
Well, sure.
It's growing. It's growing fast. Last total was 49%. Just to share with you, just Hispanic numbers from that 2008 election, only 267 Hispanics voted.
Oh,
so there's a big problem. You have an emerging Hispanic community that's growing, that will probably be at 50% when we get our 2010 census numbers, but not being involved in the process. You know, I've done a lot of research on this, and I like to quote this, and I wish I remember the professor's name, but there was a journal that came out not too long ago. And in this journal, it said that it takes 7 generations for an ethnicity to integrate into the mainstream American democracy. 7 generations. And when you think about what's going on in Odessa and maybe some other communities in this part of Texas, you're looking at, we're probably on 2nd and 3rd generation. But right now, the generation cannot wait 60 years. I mean, the population, the numbers are already there. We need to get the Hispanic population involved in the process. We need to get them integrated into the process, and that's just not happening right now. And you know, that's originally how UVU came about. Now, the Odessa Civic Engagement Project came about to help UVU achieve its mission, but also help the community of Odessa. Also, because not only is it a Hispanic problem, we also have a community problem, and we believe that doing this for the community will address both issues.
And I've got to ask you the obvious question, and this is the question that most Anglos would ask, and they would say, well, I mean, and I think it's an uneducated question, but still it is a question. Well, if we have that many Hispanics that do comply with the census, I mean, it shows up on the census numbers, are they legally here?
That's right, and I don't think
because therefore they can't vote.
They can't vote.
They can't vote, obviously.
If you're illegal, you can't vote.
It's kind of a conglomerated, messed up number that you can go from the census, and then go to the voting numbers, because I mean maybe they're not here legally. Maybe they're on work visas. Maybe they're here legally, but they can't vote.
Right.
I mean that kind of thing. Is that the case? Or
there is a large number. There's a large number now. I don't have the numbers. I wouldn't even begin. I wouldn't even know where to start on how many illegal immigrants that we have either in this area. Everybody has their estimates on how many illegal immigrants there are. I do know that we have a large number of immigrants in Odessa that are probably either on work visa or who have already achieved their citizenship. But because of that generational divide there, have not integrated into the American process.
See, I threw you into that chair. I threw you into that chair to be an Hispanic leader, and you didn't want to go there.
Unfortunately, Art, they have integrated. They don't vote just like everybody else.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's a sad number.
Yeah, it
and
really
so
is.
we're really trying to get people involved, not just Hispanics, but we want to get everybody involved, so we can start seeing some voting numbers that are better than just 50%.
The Civic Engagement Project starts Monday. Is that right?
Starts Monday the 16th, and finishes off on the 18th with our mayor and some councilmen.
Okay, and where is it at again?
It's going to be in City Council chambers in City Hall. Starts at 6 p.m. and we have till 8. but just depends on how long the speakers are. We usually give them about 15, 20 minutes to explain their role. And
all right,
good,
very good. I appreciate it. All right, thanks. Since we have to get you back since you're taking on the role this morning. Thanks much for coming in.
The
Thank
Morning
you.
Drive with Robert and Kurt. News Talk 550 KCRS.
News Talk 550, the voice of West Texas.
The area's finest health and fitness.